All right, so welcome to the Shores Meet the Candidates night. Tonight is a community service event that's meant for everyone here as voters. Some of the legal stuff. The Daytona Beach Shores Business Alliance does not endorse any candidates at all. It's simply here for you as a community event. If you have any questions, please feel free to fill out an index card in the back. Please hold any questions or comments during the question and answer session with the candidates until afterwards. Everybody will have the opportunity to meet their candidates. With that, I'd like to introduce Marilyn Wheeler and Lori Larson, who are our co-hosts tonight.
Okay, we want to thank you also for coming. Remember, we've got nice goodies up here for any time you want anything. And I'd like to introduce our moderator, Richard Hotwell.
Hi. Okay. Well, my first job is to introduce the two candidates tonight. I believe most of you already know them, and I'm using the newspaper article that came out yesterday and some of the information they have there. First is Sarah Jennings, who is running again for mayor. He's 75 years old. I got you beat. I'm 79. What was that? Profession. Retired Director of Development for colleges and universities. His political experience is he was elected as the mayor of Daytona Beach Shores in 2010. Priorities: expand the senior center to accommodate growing programs, build a new community center at the site of the Oceans Racquet Club. That's been going on for 3 years now at least. And continue a high level of public safety and efficient use of resources. His contender or challenger is Michael Peterson, age 61. He's a retired sergeant in the Nevada Highway Patrol. His experience in political nature is nothing. He hasn't done anything yet. Priorities: pedestrian safety and business. I would advocate for current and new family-oriented businesses. I want to give you the procedure tonight. I'm going to ask the mayor the first question. He has 3 minutes to give the answer or give his response to that. And while he's doing that, we have someone in the back that has cards. Raise up the cards, okay? Start with the 3 minutes. Don't have a 3 minute, okay? So it gets down to 1 minute.
1 minute, 30 seconds,
and then
stop.
30 seconds, and then stop.
Okay?
And we appreciate if both of you would try to maintain that decorum, okay? And then the other contender has 3 minutes to rebut that question, and the same kind of procedure. Then the second question will be asked, and Mike will take that question, and we'll just go back and forth, okay? I don't know how many questions we have. I think there's probably more like 20, 25 questions. We'll be able to get through them if we stay on course. If we don't stay on course, if either one of the contenders starts to travel off the question that's been asked, we'll try to bring them back. Any questions about that? Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
You asked a question of either Michael or me, and we give an answer. Then you ask the same question to the other person, or do we get to debate the issue?
You get to rebut or debate.
That's what
okay.
I want to know. Thank you.
And if the other person wants me to restate the question, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
All right. So, without further ado, the first question, and all of these questions are anonymous, but this was a question that came up. It says, what do you feel, and this is to you, Harry, what do you feel you can do to improve communications between the city and local business?
Well, let me tell you about some initiatives that we've taken since I've been in office. First of all, we developed a city marketing plan, which we had never had before. We have developed a city brochure. We have developed a monthly communication called Constant Contact, which we get that out electronically at the beginning of every month. Mike Booker and I have visited with condos. Mike Booker and I have visited with businesses. I don't know what else we can do except carry on these initiatives. I'm quite honest with you, because Mike and I are out in the community.
Sure. Okay. Pete?
All right, what I would do is I would get the business leaders together.
Use the microphone, please.
Sorry. What I would do is I get the business leaders together, and I would want to know what's going on in the business world and what they can do to help plan and get more business in here. And I want the right businesses also. I don't want just any business. I want proper family businesses in here. Some of the businesses that we have here on the north end, the north end of this city is not businesses that are very family oriented. And you know what I'm talking about. You got tattoo parlors, you got piercing parlors, you got the big ones. These are the things that we do not need. And what I want to do is I want to advertise and make sure through the business community and get the word out that way that what we want is to get rid of those businesses and start getting businesses where we can bring families in, because if we bring families in, that's going to bring in parents. And if you bring in the parents, that's going to bring in the money. And there's a lot of things that I want to do to this A1A, and I'll get with that further, probably more questions on that later. That's what I want to do.
Can I?
Okay, thank you.
Can I?
There'll be time after for
Pardon?
rebuttal.
Can I rebut?
You don't get a chance to rebut right now,
Okay.
I believe. Anybody want to correct me on that?
I will correct you on that.
Okay.
Each candidate is supposed to have the same question. We're not here to rebut, to argue with each other. We want a good, honest answer for each question, and we'd like to do that.
And they have done that.
Exactly.
Now Harry's asking for a rebuttal.
Harry, could you hold it?
Yeah. You mean, never mind.
All right, next question is to Mike. What is your position on annexation of county enclaves into Daytona Beach Shores?
I don't want to have the Volusia County here that's what you're talking about, Volusia County? The county enclave?
I think that the only place that they would be annexed from is the county.
No, I don't agree with Volusia County enclave in here at all. I believe that it should be separated from the city, and the county should be separated. Here, what we have is, the county runs has a tax base here, and they tell you what your millage rate is here. And we, at the city here, accepted that millage rate, which is lower. And on top of that, they also take care of the Volusia County Beach, and I think that there was no reason why we couldn't do it. But I would like to separate the city from the county, period.
Well, that doesn't answer the question. The question is, what do you think about annexing various areas of the county into the city?
If it's appropriate and if we can handle it, and if it's a viable thing where it's being productive, but if it's not, I wouldn't do it.
All right, Harry.
Thank you. This has been a topic since I was elected your mayor. It is not an easily resolved topic. We can wish for annexation, that is, we who reside in the city of Daytona Beach Shores. The ultimate decision is made by the county council. They have to approve or disapprove of any annexation which we would like to implement. There are some members of the county council who feel annexation should be self-imposed. In other words, people would come to the city of Daytona Beach Shores and say, I wish to be annexed into the city. That's fine. But it's extremely challenging and extremely difficult for the city to go out and say, this is an enclave and we want you to be a part of the city of Daytona Beach Shores. Annexation is the city's boundaries defy rationalization. They're absolutely the most crazy things you've ever seen in your life. However, until we can get a county council that is supportive of annexation, it's going to be a real tough battle. Now, one other comment. I think it's great to annex enclaves that are close to us, but some people would like to be annexed who are far away from us, and that doesn't make sense either. And in all cases, I'm not so sure I want to annex some enclaves. We have a great community here. The people are interested and they care about their city. Some people that live in these unincorporated areas, I don't think they have the right attitude about the city of Daytona Beach Shores.
All right. Now this next question is for you, Harry, and would you keep the microphone up closer to you than you did this last time? Okay. What would you do to assist new and existing family-oriented businesses?
Well, when a business makes application for a business license here in the city, Mike and I generally end up going and visiting with them, welcoming them. We do not have red tape in this city. If a person wants to establish a business here, that's all well and good, and we encourage that. And we don't have barriers that they have to, do this step and that step. It's very simple procedure. We just need more businesses here. Always remember that the city of Daytona Beach Shores only has 180 degrees of the circle. The other 180 degrees of the circle is the Atlantic Ocean. And we only have 4,270 people. So demographics play a very big role in attracting businesses. I had a conversation with the president of the people that own the fish place. No.
You were Robin Real.
No. Red Lobster, and the Italian place is also part of it. And I said, we would love to have another restaurant like that here in the Shores. And he said, you don't have the demographics. He said, we study markets all the time. And they have experts that study the markets. And that's one of our real liabilities. They feel that, okay, the people in the Shores can drive somewhere. But people do not come across the Dunlawton Bridge to eat. That's what he said. That's all what their marketing indicated to him.
Mike, do you need the question?
No. The reason they don't come across Dunlawton is because there's not that many places to eat and do things over here. Now, the people that you have here, you've got over 50 condos, you got 46 motels just on A1A. And those people are staying there and they want places and things to do. Now, they would stay here if we could get the family-oriented business in there and get the other stuff out. And it wouldn't be that hard. Now, one of the things Harry brought up in the newspaper article was that banks are not lending money to small businesses. And that may be true in some businesses. But if we have a business that is favorable, that we would like to come in here, I would be the same way as Harry would be, that I would not want to red tape them. I want to welcome into it, make sure they get their permits, whatever's got to be done. Also contact the local businesses and help them support the other business coming in. And also, if we can go to the bank and recommend that they can support this business, maybe that the city, behind the city, these banks might be able to listen for these small businesses.
Okay. The next question is for Mike. How would you go about giving citizens more input in city government?
Well, that's one of my main topics. One of my main topics here is I came from a rural area all my life, and there we had townships. And in all the townships we had elected officials, and what we did was they had monthly meetings or bi-monthly meetings with the town council. And when they had these monthly meetings, it wasn't that where the council is sitting way up high, we're sitting on a table on this side, and the townspeople are on the other side. And what's happening is we're just conversing with them about what's going on with the city or the town, what we can do, and they're relaying information to us, what they can do, and we're keeping them in the loop. And on one side is you got your judges, you got your firemen, you got your police department, and I would recommend that I would hold at least a quarterly meeting with the police and fire department, with the citizens. I would go around and make sure that I get the condos and everybody. I want to get them out so they can understand what the police and fire department are doing in the city. And then they can ask questions to the police. And pretty soon, you're going to have the people realizing who these police and fire officials are. And I would do the same thing then with the city council at a quarterly time. It's called meet and greet. And what you do is you have it at the pavilion, you can have it at the senior center. Well, what you would do is you would just sit there and talk and give the aspects of what the city is doing, what's going on in the city, and get some recommendations maybe, or maybe some feedback from the other people, what they would like. And that's what I would do.
All right. Harry, do you need the question answered?
Would you state the question again, please, Richard?
Sure enough. If I can find it. How would you go about giving citizens more input on city government?
The citizens of Daytona Beach Shores take every opportunity to give input to the mayor and the city council and the city manager and all of the senior city staff. It is a very open city. I have yet to meet a shrinking violet of a citizen. The best place to get citizen input, believe it or not, is Publix. When Helen and I shop, you cannot say, I'm going to get 3 items. You can get 3 items, but maybe in 2 hours you might get home. Because people here always take the opportunity to say, Mr. Mayor, I want to ask you a question, or Peggy Rice, or Jenny Chalona, or Billy Wheeler, or Henry Furman. They always do it, and we encourage this dialogue. We also have every year a visioning session where the city council sits down with the city staff and the citizens, and we say, okay, this is what we've done this past year. This is what we planned this year. Now, let's look another 5 years in the future. How do we want to get there? What do we want to do? That's one of the beauties of this city. It just is very open, and people take every opportunity to render their opinion, and it's gratifying. It really is.
This is why we see you shopping down in Orlando, right?
No, unfortunately, but Publix will be open on the 15th, so remember that.
All right, the next question is for Harry. What are your thoughts on supporting business and establishing better communications?
This is like a repeat of the first question.
I agree.
You want me to answer the same way?
No, we can go on.
Okay.
I agree with you. It was what? The first one was, how do you feel you can do? And this was, what's your thoughts? So, do you think we have adequate pedestrian crossings in safety and safety measures?
Safety measures we have. Pedestrian crossings is crazy. All right? We have a study that's underway by the Department of Transportation to talk about where we can put in additional crosswalks in the city. That should be forthcoming in a little bit. But I ask each and every one of you, when you cross the street, do you go to the crosswalk and cross the street? Those who do, please raise your hand. Those who don't, please raise your hand. The problem is people take the shortest distance between 2 points. We cannot have crosswalks in front of every condo. That is virtually impossible. And please always remember that the city does not have jurisdiction of A1A. That is the state road. And every time we want to make changes, we have to go to the Department of Transportation to work with them. Yes, I would like to have more crosswalks, but more importantly, we need an educational program to get people to use the crosswalks as much as possible. One of the other challenges that we have is state law says that when a person has a foot in a crosswalk, the traffic should stop. We have a lot of out-of-towners who are not familiar with that law, and we have a lot of residents who are not familiar with that law. So we have to really have I think, an in-depth educational program to get people to use the crosswalks more, and because our population is aging and we don't run as fast as we used to.
This problem here with the pedestrian crosswalk is one of the major problems you have on A1A. And I understand through the mayor that the DOT does run the road, and they do have jurisdiction over the road. The city enforces the laws here, not the state, and not the county, but the city has jurisdiction right here within the city, and what they're going to have to do is the city is going to have to get with the state, and they're going to have to advise them of what kind of problems we have here. Now we have one pedestrian crosswalk over here by the fire station. You then have to go all the way to Dunlawton until there's one more. Now, why do we have over a mile before we even have one crosswalk between there? That's why they're crossing, because there's no place to cross anyway. Now, you have some nice crosswalks over here, but the rule for the pedestrians is if the pedestrian puts his foot in the crosswalk, it doesn't mean that he has the right of way. If he puts it right in there where the vehicle can't stop, then the pedestrian is going to be wrong. What I would do is they don't see the pedestrians anyway. They're looking at the condos, they're looking at everything else. I personally like where Wilbur at the Sea does, is where they have flashing lights. I would, at least the ones that we do have, I would like to have a button pressed so that when you do go across, you see the yellow lights. Now there's things that, other ideas that state that, well, if they do that, then it distracts them. But at least if I saw the yellow light flashing, and most people do, then they're going to be looking, what is that? And they're going to see the pedestrian, and that's going to save somebody's life. I also want to put a pedestrian crosswalk over by the Ocean 3 and make it over to the Publix, because here is the center of town, and this is where everybody wants to go. You have the Publix, you have the bank, you have the senior center, you have the pavilion, and I see all these little people from these condos over here riding their little motor scooters trying to get across. And we got to put someday that they're going to get hit, and we're going to wish we did that. So I would want to recommend that we also have crosswalks over by every entrance to the beach ramp access, which we don't have. Also, a lot of the bus stops do not have crosswalks. We're the bus stops. So that's another area, and I would start getting on DOT and start telling them our problems and see if we can get some of these fixed.
Thank you. All right, this next question is very related to a couple of the other questions we've had, so you may not have anything more to say about it, but Mike, this is your question. What do you believe the role of government is when it comes to supporting small business and the local economy?
You know, I'm getting a thing that we got a small business problem here. For some reason, we need small businesses. And I don't know what is going on, but I think we answered the question is, yes, we do need small businesses. That is the lifeblood of our city if we want to get tourists in here. And we got the beautiful condos, we got all that, we got the motels, and we got to get rid of this vacant land, clean them up, get some business in there as quickly as possible, and get the support of the business community doing it. That's how you're going to get it done.
I can't add anything to what I've already said. Thank you.
All right, Harry, this question is for you. Sorry, this question is for you, Harry. And I'd like to, the question is, how would you handle transients in our city? And I'm wondering if the writer of this question meant homeless.
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Because, you know, all the renters that come in here are transient.
Yeah. And I don't think they would like to be considered homeless.
I don't think so. So why don't you take it?
Can I kind of comment on it? Is that the one that Lori asked me a question when I came in?
How to write it better.
Okay, I think the question would be in RMF1 zone. And, you know, when a developer comes before the council, you know, he goes through the site plan, they get the documents, you know, and the documents, I'll give you specific. They say one rental per year, less than 30 days. And all of a sudden, the developer goes bankrupt. And what happens is, the successor developer comes in, and what he does is he changes it to 7 days. 7 days is considered transient rentals. And RMF1 zoning does not allow transient rentals. I can't get any help out of the state or the city in enforcing transient rentals. I'm just wondering how either one of these gentlemen has handled transient rentals in
Right.
RMF1 zoning, and why they don't get a look at the documents when they're changed. You know, they come before the city, and then they go up, and then they change it, the city never looks at it.
All right, so let's reword the question to say, how would you handle transient rentals in our city?
We've talked about this. It's a very difficult situation. The city cannot impose leasing or renting on a private business. You know, that's not our role. Our role is to encourage a private business to establish themselves here in the city. But you know, as your mayor, I can't say, well, if we do establish this business, you can only rent, you know, for a certain period of time. That's an internal problem. You know, we have problems with the Hotel Motel Association because some condo dwellers like to rent their condos, but they don't pay a tax on that. So the Hotel Motel Association, they get their nose out of joint because, you know, they're not getting a tax, the state's not getting a tax, but no one has any idea who's renting or who's not renting. You know, it has to be an internal situation. The other thing is, how would you police something like that? I would have no idea.
I think the thing is, there's a Florida government.
I have to go on that. We'll have some discussion afterwards, okay? All right, Michael?
No, this is a tough one for me because I didn't really delve into this problem. Since I am a renter, I rent yearly, but I know that at my condo, that when you rent, if you rent under a certain amount of time, I don't know if it's 3 months or 6 months, then you get taxed. The person who owns the condo gets taxed twice as much. And that's how they eliminate it at my condo. And I don't know if all the other condos follow the same rules or they just look the other way. But yeah, and if they do look the other way, then that's their problem. But I don't know how you would enforce that unless you go to your code enforcement. And I don't think the city can do that.
No.
All right, the next question, and this is for Mike. What type of events should be supported by the Cultural and Entertainment Committee of Daytona Beach Shores?
Well, here, I think the pavilion here is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen for this town here. And here, every week, I would have something going on. I would have arts and crafts going on. I would have musical jamborees. I get the kids in from the schools and around the surrounding areas to start putting on their plays or their shows. They'll bring in the parents. And you can keep this place very busy every week. And if you get the bike shows coming in, maybe you can get something for the bikes going. But you have to discuss that. But what I would do is I would use that pavilion every week and get new anything to get the people going in here. But I would say you can do arts and crafts. You can do, like I said, art shows. You can do music festivals. You can have bands from the schools. You can have dancing programs. All kinds of shows out here. But you're gonna have to work on it. But it could be easily done. And believe me, the schools around Daytona area, you've got so many schools out here that would just love to perform out here. And I think you make a good business doing that and bring a lot of people in.
The Culture and Entertainment Board has done a superior job. We have dinners like St. Patty's Veterans Day, we have the city cookout, we have Oktoberfest, we have monthly musical programs at the pavilion. And they are absolutely terrific, and I applaud the work of the Culture and Entertainment Committee. Yes, now we have a facility for other kinds of activities, but always remember, somebody has to do the work. Somebody has to go out and talk to all these groups, and then somebody has to organize it and bring them in. And that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But my hat's off to Culture and Entertainment. Those ladies have just done a yeoman job, and we appreciate it on behalf of the entire city.
Okay, the next question is to you, Harry. Treasure Island. We know that Treasure Island is under legal action. However, what are your plans for handling Treasure Island?
That has been a project that has been 3 years in the making. As I refer to Treasure Island, it is the city's tar baby. All of you know what it looked like 3 years ago. It was in litigation for 8 years. The litigation was finally resolved, and a company by the name of Rate in Philadelphia was given ownership of it. In many conversations with the Rate representatives, we said this is a safety hazard to the city. If you wish to keep the skeleton, you have to get rid of all of this extraneous building materials that are around there, so that if there is a nor'easter or a hurricane, it will not be a threat. This is private property. Okay, always remember that. This is private property. The city cannot go in there and say, you have to do this, this, or that. We have to talk to them. We have to work together to accomplish what it is that we want to do. The Treasure Island has now, to my knowledge, been torn down to its shell, so it's no longer a safety hazard. The Rate people have an aggressive program to market it, and hopefully they will be able to either sell it or find a developer to come in and develop the property. But we just can't tell them that you have to do this or this, and neither do we can we condemn the property either.
No, I wasn't here when you had your hurricane. That was in 2004, I believe. Was it in August? I believe in 2004. Now, it hit the Treasure Island really bad, but what would have happened if it hit a lot more than just the Treasure Island? You had a lot more of these that were abandoned and everything like that. And we're going to go around and say that, well, we got to wait 10 years before we can start doing something about it? Now, I know that Harry was put in a position here, and his predecessor didn't do anything about it before he got here. When he got here, he did try to do it, and his problem was with the litigation and all this other kind of stuff. But I would have, if I was with the city, and I don't know what they did behind the scenes, but I would have pressed, because the neighbors that live on that side were complaining about it, and I would have pressed them extremely hard to make sure that this got done a little bit quicker than 10 years. And another thing is, when they first brought this up to have this sign, they had when they had to get their building torn down, then they had another 15 years to go ahead and dissolve the problem, either put a new building up or crush that one down. But thanks to, I think it was Councilman Wheeler, she brought up and says 15 years seems like a long more time after we waited 10 years. The city attorney then took that to the Treasure Island, and he got it down to another 5 years, so it ended up being 10 years that they're going to have it done with. And hopefully it will be done. And the city manager says that he thinks that it will be resolved a lot quicker than that. But I think that if this happens in the future, we have to have something in place where we don't have to wait another 10 to 20 years to get the things done.
Thank you. All right, Michael, you get the next question. And it is, how do you think we can generate more money for the city without paying more taxes?
I think the city's been doing a pretty good job of that already. I mean, we have, what did I say? I said we have over 50 condos. We have motels, taxes going, an average condo unit. They say Ocean 8 has, what, almost 200 units. These other units here, these condo units, are over 100 units, and each one of them are paying at least $400 in taxes a month. Okay, only so much of that is going to the city. So the city also has a code enforcement officer that's going around and generating money through the signage. He's got 40% of his enforcement is done in signage and 12% in permits. So they're making, I think the city itself is one of the most sustainable cities that I've ever seen. They've got enough money in here that they don't need to raise taxes. As a matter of fact, I think they could probably get by if they could raise the lower the property taxes. They've already lowered the millage here, but your property taxes are going, or your property value is going up, so that might offset the millage. And I think you got another $2.30 of your taxes are going for the underground utilities. And that's, I don't know for how long that's been. So I think the city itself has enough funds here to generate, especially when you're going to we have more new properties coming in. Hard Rock just bought 2 more properties in the city, and that's going to generate more money. And I think once you develop all this land, the city's going to be very sustainable.
Eric?
Well, we want to develop the properties as best we can. That certainly will increase the tax revenues. Annexation is another way you can do it. But you have to remember, when you annex property, you also have to think of, can your services provide services to that annexed property? The other thing that we can do is try to make property taxes more fair. This isn't a city problem, this is a state problem. If you have a homestead exemption, you pay less than your neighbor who doesn't have a homestead exemption for virtually the same piece of property. And when you really analyze the exceptions to the law, you can really find some ways, if we could get rid of all the exceptions, it would be easier. But that is a tough nut to do. But if we can just get new people to come in, build new condos, build new businesses, that's probably the best thing to do.
All right.
That's what I said.
Here we go.
I know.
Harry, what is your opinion on replacing the tennis building, or the racket club? You might spend a little time telling why this is even an issue.
It's falling down. This facility is falling down. And what we want to do is replace it, perhaps with a 2-story building. We don't know yet. We are waiting for the architect to give some ideas back to us. The other exacerbating thing about this situation is that Ronnie Jackson has done an outstanding job in building senior and community programs at our community center. More and more people are using that facility, and we need the space that is currently occupied by Chambers. So if Ronnie can go ahead and expand the community center into existing Chambers, and we can build a 2-story building here that would also house Chambers and also have room for other programs, I think it's a win-win situation. But this building, it may look good, but on the outside there are some problems, and it just needs to be replaced.
I've only been here 4 years, and the first thing I did was I signed up for the tennis club. So I know everything about this building now and what's been in here. I was very surprised when I first came here. They didn't have a center where you could get munchies and things like that, and they also didn't have a shop where you could buy tennis outfits, you couldn't buy shirts, they didn't have nothing here. All it had was what you see right here. Then, for some reason, they decided to put a restaurant in here that wasn't fully prepared because they couldn't do full cooking like they could at other places. They also did it at a time in the summertime when you have no business here anyway, so the business fell under. Now, the last I heard, we do need to, I think this is a nice facility and you could do a lot more with it, but the tennis people don't do anything with this thing because there's nothing to do with it. They come in here, they sign their name to go to play tennis, and they never use this building because there's nothing in this building to do. Now, you could make what you got here, you can set up a shop. We have a tennis pro now that is now running the place for the first time, thank goodness. And I'm sure that he could probably come up with some ideas at least to do with this building now, because when I heard from the city and the city manager, this has been put on hold. And for now, you're going to be looking at this building for many, many years, so let's try to put it to use.
Okay, well, that's probably one we could debate a little further, but this is for Michael. And this is also somewhat of a duplication of an earlier question, so you might have some more things that you want to add or just pass on the question. What is your opinion on the taxes paid by the citizens of Daytona Beach Shores?
I'm not sure on the taxes themselves, because the people that live here pay a lot of money anyway with just the property and the condos. I mean, the condos are costing them a fortune every month, and they got the HOA fees. And I don't know how you're going to reduce that because of the property values, and I have no idea on how you're going to go ahead and reduce taxes unless the city has more money than they need and they can reduce the taxes that you're paying now.
Okay. Harry?
The important thing to remember about paying taxes is, what do you derive as a benefit from living in this city? Is it worth your time, effort, and taxes? You know, this is a value question. And I think everyone here values living in Daytona Beach Shores. It is an extremely well-run city. We are very conscious of every dollar we spend. We have really kept our taxes low. And I think every one of us derives great value when you look at our public safety department, code enforcement, and planning.
Thank you. The next question is for Harry. How would you improve the medical services in the Shores?
I know we have some people here from Cloverleaf North. When the city acquired the property adjacent to Cloverleaf North, we had an idea, and we had a physician who was very interested in building a medical facility there, which many of us thought was a great use of that property. Unfortunately, this did not occur because that physician, a space next to his office opened up and he expanded into that vacant space. I don't know. This person is still maybe interested in coming to the Shores and having a medical facility and a rehab facility. We have a new rehab facility south, which we were able to acquire, and I think some of us have already used that. A medical facility cannot be like I don't know, gosh, I'm not that familiar with the medical field, but we would love to have some kind of facility where we could have visiting physicians come in like once a week, somebody, a cardiologist and then another specialist. But to find those people right now, it's very tough. It's very tough. I mean, we do have the one that we've talked with, and I don't know, as the more time goes by, I think it's less optimistic. But I would love to have some kind of a medical facility here in the Shores because of our population and their increasing age.
Michael?
Personally, I think that the medical facilities that we have in the area are pretty fine. Like Harry said, you have the new rehab center on Dunlawton and A1A. And around here, these hospitals are very good. The Halifax Hospital is very good. You got Dunlawton Avenue, which is nothing but medical centers up and down the road. So it's not like you're going to have to go very far. And then you have the fire department. If you do have a medical problem here, they will take care of you and rush you to where you want to go. Now, if you want to get just personal medical service on your own, no, we don't really have that much here. But I don't know if we really need it that much, simply because we got so much good medical facilities surrounding this whole area.
Okay, Michael, the next question. What is your long-term vision regarding attracting tourism dollars to Daytona Beach Shores?
I would like to get Walt Disney in here so we can get some really good stuff. Now, the things you have here is that is attracting the tourist dollars is you have the putt-putt golf courses, you know, the ice cream shop. What else you have here? You got some good restaurants, but mainly what you're going to have to do is have something, and I'm not sure exactly what, and that's what I have to get the business people, what could be used to attract the tourists, more tourists to stay here. They're already staying here at the condos. Now, how do you get them to stay in A1A and the surrounding areas? Now, you have the tennis club. You're going to have to go ahead and promote that. You got the pickleball. You can promote that. You can bring in tournaments. The pickleball court. You can bring in tournaments at the tennis club. Once this thing gets going, you can advertise. And also, I think this place needs a few more parks. Now, I know there's a down on, especially on, they're building a new storage area on the south end of Cardinal Street, on Cardinal Street in the middle of the residential district. Personally, I would have put a nice park there. You don't have a dog park here. Do you know that? You got people that have so many dogs, you don't have a dog park, and I don't understand that. But you build parks, you build attractions that and get people coming in, and we got a basics here. You got the pavilion, you got the pickleball courts, you got the park here, you got the tennis club. All you got to do is now sell them and get some people in here to do it.
Tourism is expanding and growing. Going back to the first question, this city has never had a marketing program. We instituted a marketing program. We also have instituted an advertising program, and Catherine has been instrumental in helping the city with that. And believe me, it has been very successful. We just have to do more. You know, people heretofore had never heard of Daytona Beach Shores, but now we're out. And we're talking to people. We're visiting with people. I walk the beach. I talk to all of our visitors, not all of them, a lot of them, our visitors. And I greet them and I say, thank you for visiting the shores. They love it. They really do. They've never had a mayor that came by in a bathing suit and said, you know, no, it's really, but the way I look at it is if they are then the following year saying, where shall we go on vacation? I want them to say, well, that's the friendliest city we've ever visited and I want to go back there. You know, we have to do all of these things. But all of us working together, we will. I mean, it's just, this is a friendly city. The people are great. That reflects. People, if you go down and talk to the people, they say, this is a great place to visit. And now what we want to do is convert also those people who visit into residents. Because many of the people, when they first came to this city, came as a visitor. And they liked it so much, they bought.
Thank you. Harry, this next question is also kind of a repetition, but do you see a way of reducing city taxes?
Sure, I do. But you have to tell me what services you wish to also get rid of. Reducing taxes is a very, very easy process. Believe me, it really is. The citizens just have to come to council and say, we no longer want a public safety department or code enforcement or planning, and it's very easily done. We just say, okay, we don't have that, and we go ahead and we then save that money and reduce your taxes accordingly. You know, it's really not that difficult. But I haven't heard anyone that wants to do that, and I have heard very few people that say this is the best buy for the money we pay in taxes.
I have to agree with the mayor on this one. If you want to pay, you got to play to pay and all that kind of stuff. But here, the taxes aren't that bad. Volusia County, of course, has the highest tax rate, the second highest tax rate in Florida. So they're not helping us out at all. The city's doing as the best they can with what they have, and they do have a lot. But at least if they take these resources and put it into getting the tourists back here where they'll stay here, then we'll reap the benefits.
Thank you. I think it's Mike's turn. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Shelton, and by the way, I only have 3 more questions left, and then we'll go into a rebuttal period of any of the questions we've had. And no? All right.
Let's just do the questions.
Then we'll open it up for other discussion from the floor. Pardon?
Final statements. I think what we have asked everybody to do is make your final statement, and then anybody that wants to talk to you one-on-one, would you agree to solve anybody that has a question or a rebuttal on a one-to-one basis? I mean, I don't think we're here for the
Publicly or privately?
It'll be private.
Oh, not a problem.
After that.
Okay, well, that's fine. I had a couple of rebuttals of some questions we had, but I'll talk to you later about it. Shall church properties pay taxes when they use the property as a trailer parking? And that was your question.
What's this one now? If they're going to pay property taxes if they put a trailer on it?
We have a church in town that rents out some of their space for trailers.
Yes.
The question is, should that church pay taxes?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that what the church is doing is very good business for the shores. Churches are exempt from taxes anyway, and I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get around it by saying, well, this is not a church business. Somebody else is taking care of the parking the trailers for the bikes and everything else, and then giving a amount to the church for the usage of the land. And I believe that unless the IRS wants to go after them, fine and dandy, but as a city, I would not go after them at all. I think what they're doing is a very good job.
Eric?
I agree. It's just like your daughter is married in a church, you know, and maybe the church wants money for that. I mean, I don't really see. That's church property. It's not city property. They can determine what they do with their property. I don't think the city needs to get their nose in that tent at all.
All right, and the next to the last question. Actually, it's the last question, but the last thing is comments, but this is the last question. And Harry, you're first. Why do you want the job, and what will you do if you get it? You have 3 minutes.
I love the job. I've been in it 4 years, and I want to go for another 4 years. I have learned a lot, but let me tell you the key to this. The key to being successful, in my opinion, as a mayor, is you have a very interested and caring citizenry. You have a terrific city council with which you work, and I do. You have a very competent city manager, which we do. And we have a very outstanding professional staff, which we do. When I go to meetings of the Florida League of Mayors or the Florida League of Cities, I am just so proud because other cities struggle. They don't have the expertise or the professionalism that we have. I have been honored to be your mayor. I want to continue to do the things that we have in the past, such as good fiscal responsibility, replacing this facility, expanding the community center, getting this tennis area revitalized. There are lots of opportunities that we have, but the key is we work together.
Michael?
Well, when I came here and went ahead and applied for mayor, I didn't realize, I want to apologize to some of the people here, that I was committing a unconditional sin, that you do not oppose somebody that is not done with their full terms here. That's kind of an unwritten rule, and people were not very happy with me for running on mayor for several reasons, but basically it was that his two-term limit is not done yet, so let him finish his two-term. After that, you can go ahead and run. That was kind of an unwritten rule, and I got a lot of negative responses for running. And it was a surprise to me, but I've never heard that before. But if for some reason I did win, I first asked for a recount to make sure that was right. And then what I would do is I go over the budget, and I talk to the staff, get online with the staff, and see how they feel, how I feel, give them my ideas, they'll give me their ideas. I also would want to give, of course, I'm very pro-business, so I would really want to be with the business people, and I want to listen to what the people have to say, and then make my vote from that. I don't want to vote for the city first. I want to vote for what the people say. Even if the city's not too sure that that's what we should do, then the city will find another way. But if there's something that the people do want, I'm not going to vote against them. I'm going to vote for what the people here want. And the business people have had a problem before here where they did not want some law and they were unanimously against it, but they were voted down by the council here, and I don't want that to happen. I want the citizens to be happy and get involved, and I really want to make sure that the community gets involved with city government. I don't want to see 10 or 15 people at the city council meeting and the same ones all the time. I want to see a lot more people. I want to see this place packed just like it is here. And I want to get them not afraid of government and let them be our friends. Thank you.
Okay. The last question, and this is Michael's turn to go first. Do you have any closing comments?
Okay, just so you know me, I thank you for coming out. I thank you actually for doing, I see I'm outnumbered 100 to 1 here, but you've been very positive about it. Nobody gave me any hard time about it, and you listened to me, and I appreciate that. I was a highway patrolman for 24 years, and I also was the governor's bodyguard and security guard. He asked me to do that. That's where I learned politics. I also worked for MAD, drunk driving, things. I did a lot of legislative work for the state, introducing bills, and that's how I got into this politics. I was taught a lot, and I did a lot, and even when I moved, wherever I moved, I tried to get involved with the local politics. Last place I was at was in North Carolina. I was vice president of the HOA. But I just wanted to get involved, and I want to say that even if you don't vote for me or you do vote for me, that's fine, but I want to let you know that I want to be involved in the community, and I'm going to be, and that's just the way it is, and I hope that appreciate you coming out and at least being cordial and listening to me. Thank you.
I too wish to say thank you for your attendance. I'd like to thank the Business Alliance for putting this program together. And I would like to be your mayor for another 4 years.
Thank you, and thank you for being patient with me. This is my first excursion into this type of thing, so thank you for coming. And I think Nancy has something to say. No?
I've got it.
I just wanted Kevin to.
I'm up here with the microphone. Guys, if we could give a round of applause to our host, our commentator, and to our candidates, please. This does conclude tonight's event. As you're leaving, there are DBSBA business guides, business directories of all the businesses inside the Shores. If you could pick one of those up and just remember to shop local. Thank you.